Hey there, this is Angela. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Thanks for stopping in. This is going to be a very short garden update. Not too much to show. The only thing I've done this past week is to get some pumpkin seeds in, and we finally got some rain. So 2 days it rained pretty much all day. So there wasn't really too much to be done at those times except for go on what I call slug patrol. There's like so many slugs to deal with. Other than that, it was pretty quiet week here in the garden. Hey there, it's Monday, May 24th, and today I'm gonna get my pumpkin seeds in. I have a bunch of different varieties. I kind of went crazy with pumpkin seeds like I did with all kinds of seeds this year. So I've always had this grand vision of like a huge pumpkin patch. Wouldn't that be so awesome? But here, although we have space, we don't really have prepared space, like space where I could have a big pumpkin patch that I could keep an eye on it and make sure it's protected and safe. So just for this year at least, I have an idea of where I'm going to grow my pumpkins, and I don't know if it's going to work or if it's like one of those ill-conceived ideas. So I thought I'd show you guys what my plan is and get any feedback. So stick around. If you've seen some of my other videos, you might have the general idea of how my garden is laid out. I've got this row of raised beds, and then there's a pretty wide aisle, and then on the other side I have another row with just 2 raised beds and a bunch of grow bags. So what my thought is, in order to keep the pumpkins like in this general space where I can keep an eye on them, make sure they're getting watered, and maybe provide some level of protection, is to plant them at the ends of these raised beds. Now, I realize that pumpkins are very viney, so that's where the issue could come into play. So what I'm thinking is that if I get the seeds going at the ends of the raised beds, once they start growing and vining out and tending to go everywhere, I can kind of train them to maybe follow along the edges of the beds, or something to where I still keep a clear walkway but the pumpkins still have room to sprawl. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but right now at least I don't have any better ideas or better places where I can put these. I'm going to try to rectify that for next year's garden and develop a place to be a pumpkin patch. But for this year, I thought I might as well give it a try. There's so many seeds that come in a packet. It's not going to hurt if I spend a few of them and it doesn't work out like planned. My other thought was to plant them over in this area where my corn grow bags are, and I might still hold that idea open, or maybe I'll do watermelons over here because they also need room to sprawl. The issue over here is that in between each bag there's really just enough room for a person to walk through. So I don't know if I want vines all intertwining throughout there, because knowing me, that is definitely a trip and fall hazard. So once the sunflowers and corn grow tall, it's going to be probably tight trying to weave my way in throughout these grow bags. So for now, I'm going to just stick with this area and just try to train them as best as I can to follow along the sides of the beds, thereby leaving a walking path. So we'll see how it goes. It won't hurt to try it. In other news, our temperatures are finally getting pretty hot. We're in the mid to high 80s this week, and you can see that's kind of having an effect on my borage and my dill. They're getting a little bit wilty. I don't think it's going to cause any damage to them, but it does seem like they have a pretty quick response to the heat. I'm going to water some things, the seeds that I planted over the weekend, and other than that, it's just getting the pumpkin seeds in. So I will probably be back tomorrow. I'll talk to you then. Hey there, it is Saturday, May 29th, and we've had some cold temperatures the past couple of days. Last night I think it got down to about 45 or 46, so I was worried about what effect that might have on my peppers. I know it won't kill the plants, but will it set them back? I don't know. They seem like they're doing okay. I've got some peppers on. You can see right there is a banana pepper. And there's a big pepper around on the back side of this bed. So this plant here, there's pretty big sized pepper there. And it also has another one coming on down underneath the leaves. That one's Hungarian hot wax. And I have some jalapeno plants that have peppers on, so that's pretty good. And I feel like they'll be okay. They can withstand 1 or 2 nights of cold. And pretty much at this point, it's waiting for some other seeds to germinate. Primarily everything that I got in later in these pots. And there's a bunch of pots on the other side of that bed there. And just maintaining. I did harvest some leafy greens, some lettuce, and some kale the other day for a salad. And that was one of the days in which it rained, and when I realized what an issue I was having with slugs. But they look pretty good. I need to start harvesting whatever's ready of this kale and lettuce. The tomatoes are looking pretty good. Several of the plants have tomatoes on already, just a few of them. There's one there. That is Cherokee Purple. It's my first year growing that variety. And it comes like highly recommended by some of the gardening podcasters that I listen to, so I'm excited about that. When I was out here the other day, when we had a lot of the rain and I found like the slug issue, I saw that is definitely what has done the damage to my cabbage plants. And so we picked a lot of them off, and I ended up Googling to see what kind of preventative measures could be put in place for this outside of chemicals. And some people are using copper. There's copper tape you can buy that what I've seen some people do is they would install it right along the edge of their raised bed here, the whole perimeter. So if slugs are trying to crawl up, they get to that copper tape and they stop, because they don't do well when they encounter the copper tape, and so it causes them to back off. But if you already have slugs all in your bed, that probably won't help. So what I saw some other people do is right around the base of the plant. It's hard to see through the netting, I apologize for that, but you would make a ring of the copper tape around the base of each plant that you want to protect. So same premise, if the slugs are on the ground crawling up towards your plant, they hit that copper and it causes them to turn back, go in a different direction. So I was able to find copper tape on Amazon, because what can't you find on Amazon these days? And it comes in 1-inch wide tape and 2-inch. And the ones that I saw, they do have like an adhesive sticky back, which I wouldn't need in this instance if I'm just going to do where I make a little ring around the base of each plant. So to do that, you would kind of stand the tape up vertically. It's hard to describe, but you're not laying the tape flat on the ground and making a ring. You're kind of positioning it so it stands up in a little ring. And once that comes in, I'll give it a try and I'll show you guys how that works out, or how I plan to use it at that time. And it wasn't too pricey, so it's worth a try. One other thing I've been working on that's not related to the veggie garden, it's this little landscaped area in front of our house. I use landscaping loosely. Mostly I've got some ferns and coral bells in this bed, but we also have ivy. We didn't put it here. It was here when we moved in. And as most of us know, with any gardening experience under our belts, ivy will take over. So I do like the look of it, but every couple of years I have to come through and prune it back hard, and I'm still not finished with this bed. Like this thing here is a It's like a ceramic type of sculpture. The man who built the house and lived here, his daughter was a sculptor, or is a sculptor, and she made that one. And so what it looks like, it's similar to this one here. There's one on each side of the steps. So it is just, I guess this is some kind of stoneware or ceramic type of thing. And it looks pretty with the ivy on it, as long as the ivy's not completely covering it like this one. So you can see my piles here where I've yanked out all the ivy. And I usually let it dry out and die, because I don't want to toss it somewhere and then it take over that space. There's another big pile right there. Give you another view. This is that space looking from the other side. And it really has become a nuisance. I'm having to clear it out underneath of that tree. It had gotten way too thick. And by uncovering it, you get to see the things like the nice rocks and things that are under there that were totally being swallowed up by it. We do a pretty big cookout each year, and so that is what really causes me to kind of spiff the place up a little bit so that it looks nice when we have all of our guests over. We didn't do the cookout last year because of COVID, but it's looking like we're gonna do it this year, which is fun. We always look forward to it. It's a little hard to get as excited because I'm still probably in kind of pretty serious mourning over the loss of our dog. I know it'll take a while, but I think she would probably want us to have the cookout. She always loved that. So that's probably gonna be it for this week. Told you it'd be a short one. I hope everyone's doing well and hope your garden's growing great. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you found this helpful, or at least interesting. And if you did, if you'd give it a like, I'd appreciate it. Till next time, this is Angela signing off with the friendly reminder to get out there and play in the dirt.